Hello and welcome to my podcast, Up Your Total Glow, your podcast for your body, mind, and soul to support, guide, and empower you to uncover your most glowing, healthiest, and feel good version of you. I am super excited that you are here because if you ask me, there's nothing that looks and feels better. In today's episode, I'm speaking with the absolutely wonderful Whitney Prude. Whitney is a clinical pharmacist and certified health coach, and her journey began with a devastating blow during her teenage years when her parents went through a painful divorce. She felt like her world was collapsing around her, leaving her feeling abandoned, hurt, and broken. She did not quite know what to do with these emotions, so in response, she buried herself and her emotions in overachievement, and she was determined not to let her pain hinder her dreams. So she pursued her ambition to become a pharmacist and forged ahead. So we all know that at some point something will give. We cannot ignore our pain forever. So the same, of course, was true for Whitney, and she started her healing journey. And what I absolutely love is that she then not only empowered herself, but is now also empowering others. In this very beautiful interview, we speak about the body-mind connection. We speak about why she started to become a health coach. We speak about common mental and emotional barriers that she sees in her work. We speak about weight loss, and we speak about what is the healthiest way to lose weight. There is so much more wisdom in this beautiful interview, and if you are keen to learn more about your body-mind connection, then please don't miss out on this beautiful interview with Whitney. Enjoy. Hello and welcome, beautiful Whitney. I am so excited to have you here today. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
The pleasure is all mine, and I can't wait to dive into this conversation with you. So maybe to start it off, would you like to introduce yourself? The $1 million question. Who is Whitney, and what are you so passionate about?
Sure. So, like you said, I'm Whitney Prude. I am a pharmacist. I work currently at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, and I'm also a health and wellness coach. I mean, who am I? I always identify myself a lot of times with, my profession and my certifications, but I don't know. I'm just a girl. I'm a normal woman, trying to run a business and really trying to make the most of my life and to help other people to be able to live their best lives. I know we've talked a little bit about my story and I can dive into that, or maybe we'll do that later on the call, but I have an incredible passion to help people to live their best life, because we don't have to be miserable. A lot of times we just live a miserable life and we just don't have to, and so that's really become my drive and my passion.
And I love it. And this is where you and I are so aligned. I 500% agree with you. No one needs to live a miserable life. This is not what we are here for. And we are amazing. Our bodies are amazing. And we have this innate ability to reset, rejuvenate, and to heal, given the right support. And yes, you have an incredible story, and I want to dive into it. I really want my audience to hear what has happened in your life. And you say you're a pharmacist, but you're also a health coach. How does this fit together?
Good question. How does that fit together? I never intended to be a health coach. I never did. When I was younger, I remember one person I had talked to that said that they were a life coach. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. Like, how does that work? But then I thought about it and I was like, there's no way. Like, there's no structure to it. There's no, it's like you're not going to have a consistent, solid income. And I just, I blew it off. It wasn't going to be a thing. And so really and truly, when I start my story, I really like to go back to when I was a teenager, because I really feel like that's where number one things fell apart, but also where things came together in a weird sort of a way. So when I was 16 years old, that was the first time in my life where I really realized that life doesn't always turn out how we expect it to turn out, or how we always dreamed for it to turn out, maybe when we were younger. And so when I was 16, my parents went through just a really challenging divorce. And for me as a teenager, it was absolutely devastating. I mean, that was all I knew. I had my family, right? You always have your family. They're always there for you. This is your security, your home. And it was in shambles. It crumbled. And a lot of my closest relationships felt like they were destroyed. And, what do you do? What do you do at that point? And nobody really teaches us how to deal with challenges in life. Like, how do we deal with really big emotions and really big challenges?
Mm.
We don't really get taught that type of stuff, from an education standpoint of how to do it in a healthy way. So what I did was what most human beings do, and I buried it.
Mm.
Right? We just try to find a way to survive, to
Yeah.
keep going. We have to get through life. We have to keep living. So how do we do it? Right. So I buried the hurt. I buried the pain. And for a long time, I had actually convinced myself that I was perfectly fine. I was like, no, I've overcome. I'm focused on becoming a pharmacist. I'm overachieving. Look at all that I'm accomplishing. Everything's great. And it wasn't until towards the end of my first year in pharmacy school where I realized that wasn't actually the case. And so what happened is I essentially, I came home from a day in pharmacy school. I had spent 8 hours in lecture. I had 16 hours left of studying to do before my next day, which is nearly impossible. And before I could even get to my bed, I crumbled. My knees literally buckled, and I just curled up on the floor and I just sobbed for hours. I just laid there and I sobbed. And that was my biggest breaking point of like realizing I'm actually not okay. Like, I thought I was a superstar and I'm only human. So it was at that point where I finally was willing to say, okay, like, I'm not I'm not okay, and I need to get help. I went to therapy. I started reading every self-help book that I could possibly get my hands on. And I spent a lot of years trying to work through the mental and emotional aspects that really came from my childhood and going through my parents' divorce, and also the physical health effects of pushing myself and my body so hard, getting through pharmacy school and accomplishing and feeling worthy of something, right? And the real problem came when I got my first job. I reached my dream. I got my first job as a pharmacist at the Mayo Clinic, and about 9 months into that job, I started to get a pain in both of my wrists, and I was like, "Oh, I'll be fine. I'll let them heal, and back to normal." And that wasn't actually the case for me.
Mm.
So at that point, it was about within 2 months of like injuring my wrists, I was pretty much bedridden.
Wow.
I was in a severe pain. I had an incredible amount of fatigue. I was very, very weak. I could hardly do anything but shower in a day. I was working, and the rest of my time literally was spent in bed. That's all I could do. And so I'm a 28-year-old laying in bed with $200,000 of student loans hanging over my head and thinking, what in the world am I going to do?
Mm.
If I can't do my job and this is how the rest of my life is going to be, what am I going to do? And so there was, I started actually looking into people that I had heard were dealing with like chronic illnesses and were well-known people. And one of those people that I came across was Lady Gaga. And there was a time she was talking specifically about a chronic illness that she has. And she made a statement where she said, my pain really does me no good. unless I can transform it into something that is. And that became my motivation. That became my driving force behind what I'm doing now. That, I can stay in bed and I can live a miserable life, or I can accept the things that I can't change and that I don't actually have control over. And I can try to transform my pain and my sickness into something that can at least hopefully in the future benefit me and also benefit others. So that became, from there, that was the birth of my business, becoming certified as a coach and just running with that idea and turning it into something.
Mm. Thank you so much for sharing, Whitney. This is such a powerful and empowering journey. And I just love how our bodies always know best and that they don't make any mistakes. So for me, it sounds like obviously you totally over pushed and overdid, but also your body kind of forced you into doing what you can do best and really empowering others, because it sounds to me like, yes, absolutely, you've got this amazing degree and I'm sure it helps you, it's a great background to have, but what you truly can give to the world is so much more and deeper. And I don't believe you would have stepped into this if it wasn't for your body, who literally made you go to your knees.
Yeah, it
Not
gave
nice,
me no other choice.
not nice, not pretty. I wish it was different for you, but I just love how, yeah, our bodies never make any mistakes. There's one thing that you said, which I would love to rephrase. So you said, you thought you were a superstar, yet you're only human. And I would love to say, I believe you are a superstar because you are human. So I feel we are so much more special with all our weaknesses. And yes, because we have so many layers and it's hard. And I can relate to, pushing everything that had hurt me in the past, all of my traumas, right down and thinking, yeah, I got this. I can really relate to this, overachieving, overdoing, pushing it all down, and it's not working. So I think this is really what makes us special, that we actually are human and have to deal with all that, excuse my English, shit. And if we kind of allow ourselves to grow, to evolve, whatever this looks like, I think this is where our true superpower lies in. Okay, so I am so in awe and respect about your business, about you, everything you do. So tell us a little bit more. How do you empower your clients now? So what do you specialize in? Yeah.
The aspect for me that makes me really unique goes back to a lot of my journey that I went through, a lot of the mental and emotional aspects. And the reason that I focus on that is because I realized how significantly our mental and emotional state impacts our physical health. Now, when I do my program and I work with clients, a lot of people are coming because they're saying, "Hey, I want to lose weight." And that's kind of a lot of people's first indication of like, I want to get healthy. It's like I got to get this weight off. So that's the first thing that people come to me for. But whether you're me, who's this little twig that thinks that like I'm invincible, and that nothing can touch me, and then I end up with an autoimmune disease, is really not that different from anyone else, where instead of an autoimmune disease, they're dealing with maybe, being overweight and diabetes. The fact of the matter is that this is all driven from inside of us. And so what I really specialize in is helping people to overcome the reasons that they're there in the first place and why they're stuck. Because if we can really overcome and unpack like why you're there in the first place and overcome that, then as you actually get physical health results, you can maintain them long term. But the problem in the diet industry is nobody addresses that. We just say change your food, exercise more, right? And the whole time we're emotionally eating, we're stressed out of our minds, we're, it's like all of these things are happening and they're all impacting our physical health. And so it's like there's this big disconnect between the two. So we bring them all together and go through this transformation, this real transformation process.
I love it. And again, I couldn't agree more with you. So I feel our world is all about quick fixes. And yeah, our bodies, we are way too smart for this because it's all about the body-mind connection. And as you said, finding the root cause, what is actually making you eat more than you maybe need, or picking those foods. Yeah, you very eloquently and beautifully said that. Are you stressed, or are you sad, or are there any other conditioning or reasons why you eat or behave the way you do? And it's definitely not true that you are broken, or that for you this is just not available, this is how you were born. No, I really think you, and definitely we don't buy into this. You were always born to thrive. Look at Whitney, what Whitney has achieved. And I feel I have a little bit of a similar story with my brain aneurysm. And it's not that we are so special, but yeah, we as humans, our body, minds, this is what's so special. So if someone is hearing this now and they think, yeah, sounds amazing, I somehow can relate to this. So what's the next step, Whitney?
What's the next step? So in terms of like if they were to work with me, or what do they do, and sort of like tips, or like what direction do you want me to go?
I want you to go in all of those directions. So whatever you want to
All of the
start off,
directions.
yes. So of course, what if they want to work with you, but also what do they do if they are not quite there yet? What can they do on their own? So please share all of this with us.
Absolutely. Of course, if someone wanted to work with me, what I do is I always will get on a call with someone before I ever put someone into my program. And the reason that I do that is, number one, because I want to build a relationship. I want to make sure that we're a good fit. But the third one is that I really want to make sure that I'm 100% confident that if someone's coming into our program, we are going to get them where they want to go. I never, like, not for any amount of money, I never want to put someone into my program that I can't get them where they want to go. It drives me absolute crazy. So that's the first step, right? I get on a call with someone, and we make sure that we're a good fit, and make sure that they know everything that they would be getting. And the program, it's very rewarding and fulfilling for me as a coach, to see people go through a very transformative process. Because usually people will come in saying, I want to lose weight, and we say, okay, like we're going to help you start getting the weight off in a very healthy, sustainable way. So they come in, and we give them what they want, but then we also give them what they need.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing is that by the time that people get to the end of the program, at the beginning, they had no idea that the mental and emotional was so important. And by the time they get to the end of the program, and I'm asking about all of the results that they got during the program, they're not even talking about the physical results. They're talking about all of the mental and emotional results and how significantly it has transformed their life. And that's the coolest part. Like, yeah, you can lose 20 pounds in the program, but when you transform your entire life and how you function in your environment, and within yourself, and show up for yourself, like that's a lot more significant than getting 12 pounds off.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with you. I feel the weight loss is almost a welcome side effect
Yep,
because
exactly.
of course it doesn't feel good if we are in a body that feels heavy and where we can't do the things we are designed to do. But it's never truly about that. It's always about feeling good, about being able to play with your children, with your grandchildren, moving, and all these amazing things. It's never truly, even if we think it is, about the weight itself. So I absolutely love that. And it's so very wisely said. So you give them what they want, but also what they need. It's really, really
Yep.
beautiful. I love it. And it's very transformative. So what's really important to get there? How do we lose weight, or how do we transform our lives in a sustainable way?
The couple of things that we focus on in terms of like sustainable weight loss.
Yes.
There's two components, and they both have to do with the mind. We have, like, our mind has to be behind us in this journey if it's gonna last long term. So the one part is the mental and emotional, where we're saying why, right? We start digging. So I was on a call today, and someone was like, "Hey, well, I'm an emotional eater." And I say, "Oh, great. That's the first step of like being aware of that." Okay, so why am I gaining weight? Well, because I'm an emotional eater. But like, why?
Yeah.
Why are we emotionally eating? Like, where is this coming from? What are and as you start digging, you're going to start finding answers. You're going to start figuring out, like, why in the world am I doing this? And the craziest thing, and I did not expect this at all with my program, the craziest thing is that the biggest transformation that people have as they go through the program and really get to the other side where they can sustain their weight loss is self-love and self-worth.
Yeah.
If they can transform their motivation from being external of like, I want to get this weight off, I want people to look at me differently, I want to look at myself in the mirror differently, and they can transition it to an internal motivation where they really love themselves and care about themselves, and they're saying, I want to actually live this healthy lifestyle because I genuinely respect myself. I care about me, I care about my body, and I'm making the decisions that I'm making because this girl matters. That's when it's sustainable.
Absolutely. And I feel this is what my first and so far only book is all about. So for me as well, I feel we can only live a healthy life if we respect ourselves enough, or if we, in other words, accept and love ourselves enough. And it's such a big word these days, and such a popular thing to say. Oh yeah, it's all about self-love, and make sure you do your self-care and all of this. And I feel it's often almost a little bit gaslighting in there. So I really love how you put it, because yes, it's wonderful to get a facial or a manicure, pedicure, to take a rest on Sundays. But I feel true self-love really goes deeper. So it's more really about this. Do you respect yourself so much that you truly want to care for your body, want to care for your mind? And that's a very different approach than, oh, there's something wrong with me, I'm not good enough, there's a lack in me because I am too big. So this is a lack mentality, whereas the other one is it's about love and abundance, like who you truly are. So I absolutely love this approach, and I agree with you. I think this is the only approach where we can find, or where we can uncover who we truly are, this best version of ourselves again. So your program sounds absolutely amazing. So how can get my audience okay, you already said this call with you, which is very, very kind of you. And again, I think that's fabulous. I work very similar to you. And I know that it's very kind and generous, because our time is truly our highest gift. That it's not money, it's the time that we have. So I really, really respect you for this. So can you maybe talk a little bit about the program itself? So what timeline is involved? Yeah, anything else you want to share about the program?
Yeah, so the way that we lay the program out, the timeline wise, it's over a period of 16 weeks. And we have a lot of education, and this is another one of the components to being successful long term, which also has to do with the mind, right? We have to have the knowledge and the education to actually be empowered to make healthy choices, right? So we have to know how to do it, and then we
Yeah.
have to overcome barriers that are keeping us stuck. So what we do is we have 16 weeks of education. So every week you're going through a different, it's like a week of education. The first 4 weeks is really taking that deep dive into the mental and emotional concepts. And like I said before, no one understands how valuable this is until they dive in, and it's like, holy crap. I had no clue that this was going to take me on this type of a journey. So that's the beginning. And then we do 6 weeks of like in-depth nutrition education. We do 6 weeks of mindful eating education so that we're really learning how to pay attention to our mind, our body, what it's telling us, how to make good, healthy choices. And then from there, we actually customize everything. So we customize nutrition to each individual person. We customize exercise. And the reason that we do these things is because if you, like most big, industry weight loss programs out there, right, they're making really big money by charging a small amount to throw everyone into a cookie cutter
Yeah.
program and say, here you go, I hope this maybe works for you, right? And people keep trying it over and over and over and over and over again. So we're trying to avoid that, right? But everyone's so unique. So we customize to your situation, to your body, to where your metabolism is, to maybe struggles that you're having, women in menopause, or someone who has thyroid issues, or someone who's essentially been starving themselves and has no idea, right? We've got to speed up their metabolism before their body's going to burn any fat. So there's so many different scenarios of when people come into the program that we really have to customize their journey. So we customize their nutrition, we customize their exercise, and we build it around things that they enjoy or things that make sense for them in their life so that they can continue doing the same things after the program. Instead of jumping on and saying, you have to go to the gym 5 days a week. And then by the time they get to the end, they're like, oh, thank goodness I don't have to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Right. We want everybody to get to the end of our program and say, oh, I guess I just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. I
And
love
it's
it.
as simple as
I absolutely love it. And yes, as simple as that. However, um,
that.
it's not that simple in our complicated world, is it? Like what I'm trying to say
Right.
is, yes, it can be simple, but we are making it so difficult. Like weight loss, it seems such an elusive concept to so many people who are truly, truly unhappy, and it doesn't have to be. And everything that I hear about your program sounds so powerful and amazing to me, because yes, you are helping your clients to unpack the power that is within them again. So with this mindful eating, this mindfulness in general, I also agree. I feel this is the only way how long-lasting health, glow, happiness will work. It's not that someone from the outside tells you, okay, you have to eat this portion size, you have to cut out these calories, foods, you name it. It's really understanding your body again, listening to your body cues, being aware of what's going on, and then making the decisions from there. And then you come in with this tailored program, which again, yes, please, because we are all different. So fact is, if you and I were eating the same way, even though it's 100% working for you, it's 100% working for me, it probably wouldn't work anymore, because I'm a complete different age. I don't know how old you are now, but I'm 48. I'm guessing you're around 30 now. And, I'm perimenopause. You definitely not. And I live in Australia. You are in winter at the moment. All of these facts need to be considered. And yeah, those cookie cutter programs don't consider this. And it's really frustrating me because I feel it's just creating more frustration for people who truly trying to do something for themselves without having the right knowledge, just trusting these programs and then feeling, okay, it doesn't work for me. There's something wrong with me again. And this is really sad because there's never anything wrong with you. So if it's not working, there's something wrong with the program, the way you go about it, but not with you. So I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. So
Yeah.
would you like to add something to that or?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So can you share a few habits that someone could start to take? So they hear what you've got to say, they love what you're about, and hopefully they jump on the phone and will give you a call. But if they are still a little bit, or if they still want to watch you a little bit from a distance, can you just give them a few habits they could start off to feel, yes, this is working and already get some results?
Yeah, absolutely. I like to take people back to the basics, honestly. It's so crazy that in our world right now, it's like the basics have disappeared.
Yes.
And we're trying to starve ourselves, or we're trying, we've got Optavia, or it's like, oh, okay, let's just take Ozempic, let's just get a medication that's going to make all of this weight that I'm carrying disappear. And everybody, it's like everybody's wanting something like this, and it's so skewed now that it's like when you come back to what I really teach in my program, it's like we're talking basics,
Yeah.
right? We're talking simple nutrition, eating healthy whole foods. We're
Yeah.
talking drinking your water. I always start my clients out drinking at least 64 ounces of water a day, and then we increase them from there. We try to get them to increase their protein. So you're dropping your calories into a healthy deficit. We're increasing your protein. You've got to get sleep. Got to get sleep. If you're not sleeping, your hormones are out of whack. And I mean, your body's not going to function appropriately. You have to get sleep. There's no there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's going to mess up your journey if you don't have sleep. You've got to reduce stress, right? Like all of these things, it's like people are like, well, I just have to starve myself for a month and I'll get these pounds off. They're going to come right back because you're not giving your body the healthy basics that it actually needs. And when we put these basics in place, it is amazing how quickly your body's like, oh, like finally I'm getting what I need. And you start to feel better. You start to notice a difference between eating healthy and then when you go back and you grab that big greasy hamburger, or those sweets or whatever. So we go back to the basics because that's how our bodies are designed to function. We have to get those things in place before we're going to get any weight loss results. That's the reality.
Absolutely. Again, I couldn't agree more with you. It's almost ironic how our world is so computerized and so fast, and we have forgotten all about the basic needs of the body, so that we can thrive in life and truly utilize all the amazing developments and technological outcomes that are there. We could really do a lot of fun stuff with it if we make sure we look after ourselves. I love that. So what does a day in your life look like? What do you do for self-care?
There's a couple of things that are like non-negotiable for me. And this comes back to I have an autoimmune disease, some combination between rheumatoid arthritis and lupus, but nobody knows, nobody has an answer. So for me, I have to sleep 10 hours every night. I have to. If I don't, I will be sick all day long and will likely flare. If I flare, then I'm spending days in bed. So, like, I don't have a choice at this point. I used to have a choice, right? But I lost that choice because I drove myself to where I'm at now. That's my number one. If I can get my sleep, I get through a day pretty darn well for the condition that I have. The other thing that I don't compromise is my food.
Yeah.
I can't really exercise because, like, I can't stand very long, I can't walk very far, so that aspect, I don't like it. I used to be a very active individual, but I can't do the exercise, and so I have to be really mindful and really careful with my food. Otherwise, like, I will gain, right? I don't have those extra calories that can be burned through exercise. So I have to be, really careful with my food. So I always, even if I'm working a lot with, being a pharmacist, working in my business, there is always time to make a healthy dinner. Even if it's a 15-minute healthy dinner, like, I don't compromise my food.
Mm,
So food never gets compromised, and sleep never gets compromised.
mm,
And then, I mean, the third thing for me is relationships, and my relationship with my husband's really important. And I've never been the type of person that can just be so busy and caught up in something that I can't, like, step away and take the time to, like, care about somebody. And so that's something that's really important for me to nourish and nurture, is keeping that relationship alive and being sure that, like, I shut off, right? Is like, there are times that you shut it down, and you got to show up for the people that you care about if you want them to stick around.
mm. Absolutely. And I feel healthy eating doesn't have to be complicated. I think this is another myth that lots of people think, okay, I just really don't have the time for health to be healthy. Um, and that's just not true, because you don't have to invest a lot of time. Eating healthy can almost as quick as, ordering your Uber Eats. Just what's in there, and whether it's pro-inflammatory or anti-inflammatory, and yeah, this will make a huge difference to how you feel, not only if you have an immune disease. So
Right.
but yes, I can again relate to that, because I had rheumatoid arthritis as well. And it hasn't flared for, let me do my math, I'm not such a good math person,
Yeah.
5 years. So
Nice.
there's definitely something that we can do. And I wasn't able to run anymore, and I love running. Like, this is my mental release. So I'm not a fast runner anymore. Like, I'm trotting along and I don't care. Everyone is overtaking me, and it's like, but I enjoy it. Like, I can see everyone is like really forcing it. I'm like, I'm in bliss. I'm trotting. But fact is, I've got all my mobility back, all my strength. So again, for me, this is just a it just really shows how incredibly amazing our bodies are if we give them the right support. And clearly, your program sounds absolutely amazing. It's exactly the way I work. So I'm so grateful for you. I would love to finish this interview today with you giving maybe 3 quick gold nuggets to my audience. And what you've just shared is probably very similar to what you will share or give them as golden nuggets. But I feel by ending the episode like this, they kind of have something they can remember, and then will really elevate their lives. And it's just 3 quick truths for you that you would love to give them on their way.
3 golden nuggets. My first one would actually be paying attention to what your body's telling you. And I mean this actually from a mental and emotional standpoint as opposed to a physical standpoint. And what I mean by this is typically when you go through a day, there are going to be things throughout your day and situations that you find yourself in, emotions that come up, different things like that, that are going to make you uncomfortable. You're going to get a pit in your stomach. You're going to like want to run away from it, or you know, cravings, even, cravings can be another thing. But the first golden nugget is to start to notice when your body says this is uncomfortable, or like why, why are we doing this, right? Or the cravings of like I'm needing something but you're not hungry. So there's a disconnect, right? And if we can start to notice, we can start to notice the discomfort. If we can start to notice the disconnects, then we can start to make progress towards why we're actually doing what we're doing. If you can get the mental and emotional piece in line, the physical health aspects are so easy. They just fall into place.
I agree. Yeah.
So I always, golden nuggets. I mean, yeah, anyone can start drinking water. Anyone can start getting their sleep. Anyone can restrict their calories or increase their protein or get outside and start doing exercise, right? I could give you those 5 golden nuggets, but the most powerful golden nugget is going to be noticing what your body is saying and then start asking why. Why is this happening? Why, it's like, okay, I'm emotionally eating. Well, why? Like what is causing me to emotionally eat? What is my body actually needing? How do I meet that need instead of trying to shove food in my face?
I love that. And I think you are again spot on. I think in our culture, experiencing uncomfortable emotions is kind of not cool, for the lack of a better word. And we are always trying to shut those emotions down, and food is readily available, too readily available everywhere, and it's not illegal. So, while, yeah, if you drink too much regularly, you really have a problem, or if you do other things not cool, clearly, and illegal, food, it's fine, for every party, like all those Christmas parties, it's highly accepted that we stuff our faces with lots of junk food, and it's fun. Hey, you're boring if you eat whole foods. So yeah, thank you so much for those amazing insights. I love your work. I love you. I think you're absolutely amazing. I love that you have empowered yourself and now are empowering the world with this. So please let my audience know, where can they find you and your amazing program? How can they get their hands on this program?
Well, first of all, I appreciate your very kind words and compliments towards, my program and what I do. I really, really appreciate that. As far as where, people can find me, the best place to find me is actually on my Instagram. My Instagram is at my whole and happy life. And that's the best place. If you message me, that's the majority of, where we're having conversations. And so if you, come to my Instagram, you'll find a whole bunch of information, find some informational videos, but just send us a message. And that's the best way to get in contact.
Sounds amazing. And of course, I will make sure to put this into the show notes. Whitney, thank you so much for what you're doing. I am truly, truly grateful for you and for your beautiful, empowering, absolutely amazing work. Thank you so much for helping to make our world a healthier, happier place. You're amazing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Take care. My pleasure. I hope you loved and enjoyed this interview as much as I did. If you did, then please do me a favor and help me to help others find this podcast so that they too can empower themselves with the knowledge that I and my amazing guests share here. And you can do so simply by sharing my podcast with one other person. This would help me extremely. Thank you so much for being wonderful, and I am a huge fan of you. Please know that you are amazing, that your body is absolutely precious, your mind is brilliant, and your soul is boundless. I know that you were born to live your best life, so please make sure you do. I'm your biggest cheerleader. Keep glowing. Much love.